Melee weapons. What are they and how do they work? So in Wonderlands, we're getting a lot, and I mean a lot of melee weapons. Now, it was mentioned that melee weapons are not going to be a primary source of your damage. Instead, they're going to act like a secondary, and I know a lot of people might be turned off by that, but I can assure you that if you spec your points right and get a decent melee weapon, you can do some pretty good damage to your enemies. Personally, from what I've seen in this Wonderlands demo, I do think that full melee builds are going to be a thing. No doubt about it. Alright, just like in Borderlands 3, it has the same kind of weapon part system, so if you look over here, you can see your blade stuff. For this particular weapon, we do have a blade mod, hilt, and hilt mod. And each part will give you a variation of crit damage, attack speed, crit chance, and melee damage. Here's the cool part. All melee weapons have a hilt mod, so depending on which one you get, you're going to get an extra bonus to your melee weapon. In this case, we got the Archmage bonus, and these extra bonuses apply for anything green rarity and above. You can see here we have a white rarity weapon, and on the hilt mod, you get nothing. In fact, they have a funny thing here, hilt mod that provides no special effects. Please love it anyway, for there is an honor in simply being. We need to not be magic or exceptional to be worthy of love. Poor common rarity. Alright, back to the hilt mod. I mentioned we had Archmage on this one, so you can see at the bottom. Archmage, melee attacks restore 3.1 of your spell cooldown. So basically, we're going to cast a spell, and you can see my spells on cooldown in the corner. And if I melee an enemy, you can see it kind of jump up in cooldown. The cool thing too is there's no delay, so you can trigger this over and over. Also, keep in mind we're only level 9, so once we get to a higher level, this bonus will increase. That is if you find a melee weapon level 10, 11, or even more. Don't worry though, Archmage is not the only bonus you can get on melee weapons. In fact, there's 3 other ones known. The second one is Vampire, so melee attacks restore 6.1% of your maximum health and maximum ward. For those unfamiliar, the ward is your shield in this game. Alright, so you can see our shield and health is down, so we'll do a melee, and you can see we slowly gain it back with Vampire. It's not an overpowered amount, and you're definitely going to need this if you want to survive for melee battles. Not even just that, if you're doing a gun build, you can go ahead and smack the enemy and get some HP back too. But for a melee build, if you're doing some long drawn-out battle, then yeah, you're going to need that healing. For the third hilt mod bonus, we have Ancient. Melee attacks restore 3.1% of your action skill cooldown. So unlike Archmage that gives your spell back faster, this one's going to give your action skill back faster. Alright, the action skill's on cooldown, so you can see we're getting it back per melee hit. The Ghost Blade does have a pretty long cooldown, so it's going to take quite a few melee hits to get all of your cooldown back. Either way, it's a lot faster than waiting around. For the fourth hilt mod bonus, we haven't really seen it in the demo, but we have seen it in previous trailers, and that is the ability to steal ammo from enemies by meleeing them. That sounds really powerful, and it makes me wonder if we can regen like rocket ammo too. We'll have to wait and see on that. As for other hilt mod bonuses, we don't know any at this time, but there could be more. However, I will say that there are some unique melee weapons in this demo, and I don't want to spoil them, but upon doing melee attacks, you will get extra bonuses that are more than what we've seen here. There's also going to be 4 different manufacturers for the melee weapons, so you can see here we have a Swift Blade, and Swift is going to be all of the swords. As it sounds, Swift will have really good attack speed, but lower damage. You can see on the card, damage 39, attack speed 1.34 per second, critical chance 13%, and critical damage 108%. So with melee, you can either click to swing once, or you can hold down the melee button to swing over and over. Like I said, Swift is pretty fast, so we're swinging at a decent rate. It should be mentioned that the crit damage and chance applies for all melee weapons, and you don't have to like aim at the enemy's crit spot. You can just randomly get a crit, so regular, if there's a crit, and he's dead. So obviously you want to have a high crit chance to get those critical hits automatically. Next up we have Cleave, and just like these Swift weapons, these are both one-handed weapons. And Cleave is going to make your sickles, or I think they're called kamas, and axe weapons too. From what I've seen, the Cleave kamas are very similar to the Swift blades in terms of stats, but the axes are a little bit stronger. They hit for a little more damage and the attack speed goes down. On top of that, the crit chance is a lot lower, but the crit damage goes up. For the third manufacturer, we have Bonk, and yeah, these have pretty good damage and attack speed, but the crit chance is not good. These are one-handed weapons too. Oh, also the Bonk manufacturer makes your blunt weapons. Alright, so we have on our Bonk weapon here, and there's 2 things I want to show off. With the one-handed weapons, you can glide at your enemy, so think of it like Commando Pro from Call of Duty. So even though we're a decent distance away, we can go ahead and slide, do a melee. Oop, that was a bad line of sight there. You have to be looking at the enemy. And yeah, you can see we just like dash into the enemy and hit him with a pretty hard attack. On top of that, when you melee the enemy, they can stagger too, and that's going to be really helpful for getting attacks into the enemy. Alright, I did get overwhelmed here a little bit because this is early game, I don't have the best melee build yet, so I can't really show off a full-blown melee build for you guys. However, I will say it again, melee does feel pretty good in this game. For the fourth and final manufacturer, we have Valora, and they're going to make your two-handed weapons. I did a little searching around, and I couldn't find one in this demo, but know that these weapons are going to be very, very slow to swing, but they hit really, really hard. Also, melee weapons can be elemental, so you can get one in fire, shock, poison, cryo, or the dark magic. So your melee attacks will hit for that damage type. And in case you're not sure about what elements are good against certain enemies, you can inspect your elemental blade, and you can see these stats on the detail. So fire is going to do 125% damage against the flesh targets, and you can identify those if you see a red health bar. For armor, you're going to see a yellow bar, for shield, you're going to see a blue bar, and for bone, you're going to see a white bar. For flesh, like I said, you want to use fire, for armor, you want to use poison, for shield, you want to use shock, and for bone, you want to use cryo. The fifth element is going to be your dark magic, and this one works a little bit differently. This is lifesteal, basically. So if you do dark magic in any form, you're going to steal life, but do know that you're not going to get the best damage bonus, as you can see. You're only going to get 90% of your damage out of this. So you can see here we have a cryo axe, we're going to go ahead and slam. And you can slam from any height too. And yeah, we're going to be doing cryo damage. And the final thing I want to mention is, if you freeze a target using cryo, if you hit them with a melee attack, you're going to get triple melee damage. This will only apply for your frozen targets. So be sure to implement cryo in some form into your build, maybe add it to your spell. And that's going to give you the most out of your melee damage. Anyways, I think that's going to be it for the video, so let me know below in the comments what you guys think about melee weapons. Honestly, I think they feel pretty good, and I've been talking about having melee weapons in a Borderlands game for many, many years now. That time has finally come, and I gotta say, this is everything I asked for. The only thing left is to see how it works for endgame, and also having a full-blown melee build. Hopefully it's pretty good. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, then please be sure to leave a like, because that'd be awesome. And if you guys really enjoyed it, be sure to sub. You guys have a great day, and I will see you all later. Peace out.